Hello folks. Today we have something different. I said when we did this site we'd include vehicle and equipment repairs along with the other things that we do here living out in the country on a shoestring. And it's time to do some maintenance on our 2010 Honda Odyssey minivan. This is our main family vehicle. And about a week or two ago we got a sensor, not a sensor but the recorded warning that they will flash on the screen on the LED readout in the cockpit that said that it was time to change the transmission fluid. It's required about every 30,000 miles on here. I've never done this before. I've never seen the sensor go off before to tell us to do that, but this time it did. So I did some research. I looked at a couple of YouTube videos how to do it. It's relatively simple. I've done many oil changes and filter changes and things like that in my time, so doing the transmission fluid doesn't look like that's too difficult. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do, and maybe this would be something that you could manage as well. It'll be a whole lot cheaper than taking it to a dealership, and then you'd be good for another 30,000 miles. I believe this is the same procedure with several years of these Hondas. So I'm just showing you what I'm doing with mine, and you can adapt yours accordingly. Now the first thing we need to look at are the tools that are necessary to do this. To remove the drain plug underneath, what you need here is a 3/8 ratchet with an extension on it. I'll show you where that goes when I crawl under the car here. The plug is actually a reverse plug, so there's nothing to grip a hold of with a socket, but all you need is the 3/8 stem from the ratchet. I'm not sure which of these two extensions. I have a 4 and a 6-inch extension here. We'll see which one gives me better leverage to be able to loosen that plug. In addition, to remove the fill plug, which is on top of the engine, I'll show you that in a minute, I have my 1/2-inch ratchet with an extension on it, a couple extensions because it's sort of down in the engine, and then we're going to use a 17mm drive socket to loosen that. So let me show you where that is first, even though that's later on in the operation here. Because it's on the top of the engine, it's easier to see than if I crawl underneath first to show you the drain plug. So if you look down in the engine here, zoom down a little bit, see if you can see that plug right there. Let me turn the light down a little bit. There, it's too bright. Okay, you can see that plug right there. You can see there's a some kind of a strip on there, a decal strip on there. But that's where you're going to fill it once we get to that point. So again, that's, if you look here on the engine, it's behind where the air cleaner is, behind where the manifold is, behind the battery. So you can see that relatively clearly. And I do know that this configuration I have will fit exactly. I tried the socket to make sure that was the right size, so it will work. All I have to do is get that off. Now to refill it, and I know I'm talking about this backwards, but it's easier because this is on the top, you also need a number of things. First of all, Honda has a special transmission fluid. You can't simply use a regular one that you, like a general one that you get in a department store or an auto parts store. So you need to get this. Let's see if I can focus in on this. It's oh, this one was ripped off. You can't see the name on it. Try this one. That's better. There, it's ATF DW1, and it says genuine Honda. Now what I did to make things simple is, instead of going to an auto parts store or retail store to get these, I went on Amazon, and they actually have a full kit that you can buy all in one. It gives you the 4 quarts of the transmission fluid. The specs say it takes 3.3 quarts to fill it, so you need a little bit more than 3. And also, to get that down into there, you need a funnel with a long neck and a skinny spout. And this one came with the kit too for a few dollars, so it was worth it to me. I know it'll fit. The third thing that comes in the kit that you need is on the drain plug. They have what they call a crush washer that goes between the plug and the transmission housing. So they suggest that when you change it out, you change the crush washer. So this was a pack of 5 for a couple dollars. And as I said, it all came in the kit. The 4 quarts of the transmission fluid, the funnel, and the crush washer. So that's giving me what I need to do the job. A couple other things, basics. You need an oil pan to catch the drip pan to catch the transmission fluid. I have that ready to go underneath. And then I also have some of these nitrile gloves I'll put on so I don't get transmission fluid all over my hands. And then a wipe rag of any kind will work too. So these are some basic things that I would use even doing a regular oil change. But for this particular application, we're going to use all of this that I showed you. Now let me just take you down underneath to show you exactly where the plug is. It's near the front. The bottom of these Hondas are very low, so I did jack up the right hand side here a bit so I can get at it. You can see it's on my floor jack. The reason I did, or excuse me, it's my right when you're looking at it, but it's actually the left front of the car. That gets confusing, I know, but it's the driver's side. The reason I did that is the drain plug faces the other way, so this kind of tips the transmission in the direction that you want the fluid to come out anyhow, so it should drain a little better. But it was just too close to the ground to try to effectively get at this underneath. So what I did is I jacked it up a little bit to make it easier. Now I'm going under in the front center. And if you look, here's the muffler going back through. Can you see that there? Right over here is the drain plug. Again, my light's too bright. Let's try that. That might be better. It's right there. I'll zoom in a little bit for you. There's the drain plug right there. And that's what I'm going to remove with the oil pan underneath. So we will get back to you with the next part in this. You can see when the fluid is drained out and us refilling it with fresh fluid. By the way, there is no transmission filter that you need to change. That's internal inside the transmission, so there's no easy way to do that. You'd have to take the pan off the bottom of the transmission and replace it internally, and that's something that you'd want to take to a shop to do. Unless you happen to have a set of lifts in your garage, you can actually lift the thing up and get underneath. But since I don't, I'm not going to attempt that. So here we go. The transmission plug is the first move to doing this, and once that's out, then we can refill it. So hang in there. We will come right back.